Welcome to the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners meeting, April 23rd, 2024 at 6 o'clock p.m. We ask you this time to silence the phone and electronic devices you may have, and we'll start off with invocation and vote.
All right, everybody, please stand. Bow your heads, please. Father, we come to you today as a gathering of community leaders. Please give us the wisdom as we deliberate the business of the people. Give us wisdom, humility, and the wisdom and knowledge to do your work in our area. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda here, we're going to adopt the agenda. And we got a few changes to make on it, don't we?
Under presentations, we want to move NFP to number 2 and add number 1 under presentations, Ms. Susan Pritchett, to discuss truck traffic on Black Shoals Road and Magnolia. And then the other change would be number 5 under new business, Back on Demand Incorporated.
Any other changes anybody think of? That being said, we want to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Right. First thing we got in the presentations then, we're gonna go right into Miss Susan Pritchett. Come on up.
Susan Pritchett, 250 Twin Lakes Road, Gay. Okay. Well, I came to grab and complain, you're kind of taking the fun out of it because apparently with all these new signs we got up, we're not getting quite the truck traffic we had. So from that perspective, thank you for at least making that happen. And that's pretty much on you. Once you knew what we needed, you made it happen. Pike County came through, they made it happen. So from that perspective, thank you. Every road that shouldn't have a truck on it needs that sign on it because it seems to be working. Sheriff's office have also been putting deputies out there sitting. They're just sitting just to see if a truck comes through. I asked the one deputy, he said he hasn't seen any. I saw one truck last week, but they're doing a lot of construction down on Black Shoals. I don't know if he came from that construction site or he came across the bridge. So from that perspective, Public Works did a great job getting those signs up. You got the signs, they put them up. Sheriff's office seems to be trying to do their part too. So thank you. So I can't gripe about that.
Thank you.
Hopefully we're through about truck traffic. But Magnolia Road, I was talking to the, you gotta be careful how you say it. It's the mayor of Gay. And yesterday we had a meeting and his concern about Magnolia Road, we're still having issues with the trains that are blocking all of the crossings. We had an event at the arena. All the blockings are crossed. I called EMT. I needed an ambulance. I couldn't get one because the train had all the crossings blocked. That's a problem. It's not just in Gay, but it's everywhere. But it's primarily in Gay. Well, so what we talked about is they can't cross behind the Cotton Picking Fair because it's too steep. So a fire truck can't cross there and an ambulance can't cross there without high centering that track. Now we got a new problem if you did that. If the two are blocked and Samples Road is blocked in Gay, you can't get an ambulance or a fire truck to the other side of the tracks. So the thought was, if they close, the thought was that they could always bring equipment in from Pike County. So Pike County would come with an ambulance or Pike County. That would be taken care of. But when they're talking about closing the bridge, DOT is going to close the bridge. They're going to pull that bridge down. Ain't nobody from Pike County going to come rescue anybody over off Flat Shoals Road and Gate. So what we talked about was Magnolia Road. Now, God bless Public Works. If there was ever a job I would not want, it'd be Public Works. And Magnolia Road has been a nightmare for those guys. Every time they get it fixed, we get 6 inches of rain and they're back at it. They're doing the best they can. So from where it's washing out, that's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect the fire trucks. But between the railroad tracks, which would be Holiness Church, and Georgia 85, that could be a problem. It's a pretty steep decline if you're going down Magnolia from the track and you're going down toward Georgia 85. It's got a really steep decline. Whenever there's any kind of rain, that road is almost impassable. There's one resident on that road. Half the time, I don't know how he gets up and down there with a trailer full of cows. I just don't see how he does it. But that may be our only access for an ambulance or fire truck. So I think we need to see, now we've got plenty of time. This ain't a rush. It's not like it's got to be done tomorrow. This is something that needs to be in the planning. How do we fix Magnolia just because of our train issues in town? We can't always guarantee we can get an ambulance or a fire truck. But Magnolia, they could come across Magnolia and come down Holiness Church. That's always our backup. So I think if we can plan that, how could they fix it to keep that part of Magnolia from just disintegrating? Because they always have to kind of come back and move it from the bottom of the hill back up the hill because it just washes away. It's not that they're incompetent and not doing a good job. They're doing the best they can. But is there another solution? Is there another way that we can ensure that we can get a fire truck up that road if that need be the case? So I think that needs to be something that needs to be considered between now and bridge tear out. So we do at least have a backup plan. I'm thinking proactive rather than reactive. Believe me, when I got a kid laying out in the middle of a pasture and I can't get an ambulance to him, that's not good. So that's what I want to talk about Magnolia. Magnolia is a nightmare. It's just a nightmare from beginning to end.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jerry can reach out to the railroad or not, but we've had a problem before some other tracks before I became commissioner in other areas.
Mhm.
From what I understand, if they're going to be there for a long period of time, we're supposed to break the track, the train, separate this and that.
Yeah.
But I think the engineers and stuff figure nobody called the plane, but he's gonna do all that, so I don't know that.
Well, I can tell you what I did one morning. One Saturday morning, I got horse trailers backed up on Georgia 85. Is I went up to that engine and I said, get down there and break that train. He said, I can't break the train. I said, well, tell me how and just pull up a little. And he said, we can't break it without authority. So I'm on the phone like every 2 minutes to that 800 number. And the guy just got so sick of hearing from me, he finally called that guy back in the States and break the dang train
See what I'm saying?
and tell her to leave me alone. So they finally broke the train so we could get that traffic through. There's no other access. There just isn't any access. They couldn't have got a horse trailer up Magnolia that particular weekend because of the recent rain we had. And you're pulling a pretty steep hill with a loaded trailer. It would be tough for a loaded with water fire truck to get up that hill like it is right now. Now, to be fair, I haven't been on Magnolia recently, so I don't know what that really looks like today. But the last time I was on it, it was a hope and a prayer, all trying to get up that hill. And I was pulling a trailer and it was tough because it's slick. You're going every way but the right way sometimes.
Well, that is in the city of Gates. Do you know if their mayor reached out?
No, I don't think that is the city.
I'm not gonna go, I'm talking about 2 tracks they're blocking. That's the city of Gates.
Oh, yeah. In fact,
So shouldn't the mayor reach out?
they have. And what they told CSX was they worked out a deal, said if y'all sit there more than however many minutes, we get to fine you. Who's going to fine them? Who's going to go out there and go, okay, here, let me get my ticket book out? That doesn't even make sense.
CSX is such a large entity, and I do know that Debbie Buckner had reached out and had a meeting with CSX several years ago because it was the same issues in Talbot County. And they come to a conclusion to where it was a situation where multiple roads were blocked at a time and they had to leave one of those accessible
Right.
by breaking that train. So we may need to reach out to Debbie and see what her conversation consisted of to try to get that to work here as well.
Well, recently we had them, it was right in the middle of the day. Fortunately, there was no big deal other than people were aggravated. Where it is behind the fair. Main line. Well, he was all the way out on the main line and he had that blocked. He had it blocked all the way across Samples Road because what's happening is these trains, and I guess because of the trucking industry, they don't have enough trucks, so they're putting more trains together, hauling longer trains with more engines. But the thing is if you back them up into Harrelson, there's a sideline in Harrelson, plenty of room up there. And they don't block anything. That sidetrack,
Harrelson's blocked all the time. I look at it. I call all the time. And sometimes they'll have the two in Harrelson, they're right beside, and you'll run all the way down here and come up, I forget the name of the road, I know it. Something Mill Road, but anyhow, when you come up that road, they'll have that one blocked too, and unless you know it, you have to go all the way back down, go up Hardy Road, go over the bridge track, and come back around. And a lot of folks don't know that. I have to get out and tell them where to go.
yeah.
And they're doing it still in Harrelson. I call them here every time there, and, you know.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And I don't know, other than going up there and pestering the hound out of the dude driving the train. And anymore, they see that white pickup coming, they all hunker down and lock the door and act like nobody's in there. Cause here she comes, you know, Karen with the cowboy hat. At least I'm consistent. At
We
least I'm
had a
consistent.
similar issue with a previous employer in another county, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people think there's a law in place where they have to clear the intersection after, so long, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And we found out there's actually not. The railroad is one of those entities that has a lot of legal power.
Right.
The way it's set up.
Mhm.
But the best we could do was communicate with them, and we had the issue where there was a neighborhood that was actually only one way in, one way out. So they were completely cut off from emergency services, and they worked with us to the degree where they would, park the train where they wouldn't cut off that neighborhood. So
Right.
it wasn't an authoritative move, but like Mr. Threadgill was saying, involving Ms. Butler would probably be a good path, because she has the stage where she can shine enough light on it to where that really motivates them to work.
Well, and part of the problem is that the sidetrack's not long enough anymore. Because I don't even know how they pass. Because if you can't move a train to a sidetrack, you're still sticking out on the main line. So, I mean, I know that they got a job to do. And to CXX's credit, when I called Bryn like 4 times going, I really got to have an ambulance. Bryn said, I'm on the phone with CSX right now. And it wasn't 30 seconds later, I could hear the train fire up. And I heard the horn and the train started to pull out. But the ambulance is literally sitting at the track, waiting for that train to move, to get across that track. Now, fortunately, it wasn't life-threatening. It wasn't incredibly, terribly serious. What if it had been? What if somebody had been, I don't know, hit by a car and it was just god-awful terrible? I don't know what to do. All I can do is stare at them. I don't know what to do. So I'm not sure what the solution is. It's not just here. It's not just in Gay. It's everywhere. But it's a constant issue. And I think CSX should be a little more willing to break that train. Because that'd be great. Give my
I
number.
think you're talking to someone representative like that.
Well, I know she already
Roberts,
she already had that conversation with them, so I do know this.
and I can reach out to Senator Harlan. He's done a lot of stuff, CSX, and, he's not in our district, he's paid a good friend of mine, he runs horses and stuff too.
Mhm.
Ask him to get some of those folks getting on top of it, we'll probably get something done good.
Well, it's a long way from that guy. If he's up there at Samples Road and he's got to walk the line back to break the train, that's a long walk. I mean, we're probably talking,
You can run over your white truck.
I'd be happy to just call me up. Cause that's what I did that day. When he finally got the okay to break the train, I told the guy, I said, get in the truck. I said, you ain't gonna be able to walk down there fast enough for me, so get in the truck. And he did. He was like, thank you. I didn't want to have to walk down that line. So that's what we did. And they wanted to cooperate. They were not, those guys on the engines weren't like, get out of here, you know, we're not moving the train. No, they were, their hands are tied. They can only do what they're authorized to do. We just gotta be able to get CSX to authorize it. So, yeah, if you could just hook her up, tell her to call. Flat Shoals Karen, that's me.
I'll send over.
That, well, maybe you better,
Why?
yeah. So, and like I said, the Magnolia Road thing, if that is our only option to cross the track, how between now and my understanding is that maybe y'all would know, have they decided to delay the closing of that bridge again?
Mm-mm.
Which
Yeah.
Oh, which bridge?
Flat Shoals Bridge.
Mm-mm.
They haven't done anything with that.
Mhm. It's still in the design and scoping, well, design and planning process.
Cause they've been out there and somebody said, well, they're gonna close it sometime this year. And then I heard that it got delayed another year.
Commissioner Collins and I met with the DOT guys specifically for the project,
Mhm.
and he told me, did he say it'd be at least 27 before they actually close it down? It'll take, a couple more years to do all the stuff.
Well, as long as we can keep the trucks off it, we can keep them keep them from having to start that project earlier. Cause at some point, there's gonna be a truck in the Flint River if the truck traffic truly has not stopped. Because what the DOT people are saying is that bridge can't support a truck. Here they come, just rolling down the road, so. Anyway,
Something else we're hoping will eventually come to a head here is, we're working on trying to get like a code enforcement officer that can write citations for that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Not totally gun, handcuffs and all that law, but working with the sheriff's department and, because the sheriff's deputies, at least short of hands, they go out there and talk and sit there all day.
yeah,
But our code enforcement, we can get that situated and set up with the state and with the sheriff. At least like if you call and go, there's a truck on the road now, he happens to be close by, he can run over there. You know,
but that begs the question, if we've got a picture of the truck and the license plate, is there not anything they can do?
I followed one from Albertson crossing line all the way to 50 to Hogansville exit down Albertson Road or Luthersville Road, and there's a legal once they got on 54. By the time the deputy met me up there, right there at the 100 in the gas station there, he said, I can't go by what you video, what you say, I have to see it myself.
Okay. So we shoot the tires out and they're stuck there, then it's okay. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna shoot nobody's tires.
Stop them and don't let them go nowhere, that's crazy, and then they'll call the law.
Yeah, and they'll go, oh, that must be, so this crazy woman with a cowboy hat, there's, oh, there's Susan's out there again.
Yeah, we'll know what we're doing there.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fine, and it looks like we got plenty of time to work on Magnolia Road then. Okay, thank y'all, y'all are doing a great job, Public Works is, Sheriff's Office is doing good. And I appreciate the proactive rather than the reactive, we need more of that, so thank you, appreciate all y'all. Thank you.
All right, we'll move right under presentation number 2 to the NFP benefits presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Tammy Starkey, benefits consultant for Meriwether County with NFP. We have been working with your HR and finance teams over the last few months to analyze the upcoming benefit renewals that will take effect July 1st of this year. So as a part of that, we provide monthly updates on the medical plan of how claims are running, because we know that will have the direct impact on what the renewal is from the medical carrier Anthem and what the market proposals will be. So in our presentation, I did give an indication of how claims are running so far for this plan year and the history, the 5-year history, so that you see the trend of the claims experience. For the last couple of years, we've run an average of about $1,300 per employee per month in paid medical and prescription drug claims. When we compare that to plan years 2019 and 2020, that has increased by about 40%. We know primarily this is driven by high cost claims the last few years, and we'll look at specifically lifestyle related claims and how we can have an impact there and how the county has had an impact there with a comprehensive wellness program in the past. When we evaluate the paid claims as a percentage of paid premium for the insurance, currently over the last 12 months, we're at 114% loss ratio, which basically means that Anthem has paid out 14% more in claims than we have paid in premium for the insurance. This time last year at renewal, we were at 142%. So the last several years, we have run over 100% loss ratio, which has equated to an increase or a need to change insurance carriers to help manage that premium increase on the plan. So on slide 3, when you look at the those lifestyle related conditions, this is reporting from Anthem based off of specific lifestyle related behaviors. So we look at overweight, obesity, lack of physical exercise, tobacco use, these types of things that can have impact to chronic or long-term conditions. And so Anthem assigns a direct and indirect associated expense so that we can see what is that value within our claims on the plan and how does that impact it. Over the last couple of years, we have averaged about 20% of our claims on the health plan are directly lifestyle related, meaning that we can put in measures to help employees and dependents understand what their risk factors are, that they can make lifestyle decisions to help change that and improve their overall health and well-being. Until 2018, Meriwether County had a very comprehensive wellness program that included biometric screenings and it included on-site coaching for the high-risk participants. That was discontinued in 2018. And so when I compare the 5-year average of when that program was in place, the per employee per month average claim cost was $505.40. Since that wellness program was discontinued, the 5-year average for a per employee per month claims cost is $1,086.20. So it's 115% increase when we look at average claims expense before and after that comprehensive wellness program. So that's a part of the conversation this evening is looking at reinvesting in the health of the employee and dependent population to help them identify risk factors, provide the resources and coaching to improve their health when possible. And I've got a program that we're going to review that can help the employees and dependents do that. So as far as this renewal for the health plan, on page 4 of the presentation, you'll see just a summary of the carriers that received the request for proposal for the county's medical benefit plan, those that provided a proposal, and those that declined to quote. So in this summary, you'll see that Aetna provided a proposal that was a 23.5% increase. United Healthcare provided a proposal that was a 22% increase. Benecon Meritain, which is a self-funded solution through Aetna, declined to quote because they were uncompetitive, and then Cigna declined to quote. So with the Anthem renewal, the initial renewal came in at a 29.7% increase, and we were able to negotiate that to 20%. With that, the conversation last year was that ACCG dissolved their relationship with Anthem. So these renewals with Anthem are not under the ACCG umbrella for 7/1/2024. Late last week, ACCG announced that they have started a new partnership with Meritain, which is a third-party administrator for Aetna, and they will start quoting proposals for that. So we have submitted the county's information to see if the ACCG pool will quote the county within that. It's very different from the partnership that they've had with Anthem for the last 20 years or so. It is a self-funded arrangement where Anthem was fully insured, meaning premiums paid in, claims paid out. With self-funded, it's premium, everyone pays in towards the claims and you're paying out, and there's stop loss that helps manage that risk. So it's not a flat premium amount. It would feel very much like fully insured for the county, but the way the risk is managed is different, which ACCG is saying what that means is they have to be more conservative in the risks that they bring into that pool, and they're not going to allow every county in. So we submitted it to see what it would look like if they will quote Meriwether County's health plan, and if it is competitive with the market. At this point, I don't have that numbers. This was announced on Thursday last week, and I had a conversation with ACCG on Friday. I expect to hear more at the conference this week, but hopefully we'll have that back in the next few days and know if they're going to quote it and what their proposal looks like. So on page 6 is an overview of the current plan with Anthem at the 20% increase, which is currently our most competitive option from the market. You'll see bottom line, the combined annual cost difference is $292,657. Now that's total premium, excuse me, for the year, and that does not account for employee contributions and any changes to employee contributions. So that's total billed premium. We also evaluated different plan options to give the employees more choice with the new plan year. So on page 7, you'll see we are showing a buy-up plan option that the county may want to consider. Page 6, sorry. Okay, thank you. A buy-up plan option that employees could choose to pay more for, but have less out-of-pocket expense. So a lower deductible, a lower out-of-pocket, and lower copay for emergency room and some of their medications. So the premium difference between that current plan with renewal and the buy-up plan is 13.5%. So again, that's optional. The county could choose to have employees fund the entire difference so that the county's contributions are cost neutral. As far as the wellness program, on page 7, right?
Mhm.
Okay, my tablet's one ahead. We considered several different options, including local providers. But what we came back to with your team was that the team that provided the wellness program that was so successful in the past really was beneficial to the employees, and a lot of the employees that had that experience would appreciate having that again. So we went back to that same vendor to reevaluate that partnership and what their program would look like for Meriwether County. So this highlights that program of overall providing a participant platform, engagement, education on a group basis, but very specifically providing coaching for high-risk patients. So anything from diabetes, weight loss, but also things like mental health, behavioral health coaching, tobacco cessation. So completing a biometric screening would be the first step. Someone goes in, does their blood draw, their blood pressure, and then from there, they receive an assessment from the team to identify what are my risk factors and what does that mean and what can I do about it. So if I go in and they say, well, you have high cholesterol. Well, what do I do about that? I got to change my diet. I need to work out. What does that mean? Well, then I can go into the health coaching, which is one-on-one on-site health coaching to identify, okay, what should your diet look like? What supplements should you be taking? And then monitoring that throughout the year to make sure that I'm meeting those goals that are specific to my needs and my health risks. We'd also receive aggregate reporting to understand the risk of the population. So at no point would any member of the county's team, administration, staff receive any individual employees' health information. But what we would review is aggregate data to see what is the risk in the population so that we can provide support and education that is targeted to those specific risks. So we're leveraging that data that comes out of the biometric screenings, pairing that with what we have from the health plan with those lifestyle related conditions to see how do we make a difference and evaluate ROI year over year. Are we seeing an improvement in the health of the population? Are people losing weight? Is their blood pressure improving? And what does that mean to our risk within our health plan? So with that, also identifying gaps in care. It's often that people aren't receiving their physical, they may need specific screenings, and that health coach will keep people, those participants engaged with the care that they need, that's specific for them at their point in life and their conditions that they have. So the cost for this plan, as we evaluate the platform, the health screenings, and the review of results and the health coaching, is a little over $30,000 for the year. We, as part of our negotiations with Anthem, we were able to secure $15,000 in a wellness fund that can be used to pay for this program. So that could be used to offset at least half of the cost of this program through employee EHG, and be able to implement this effective 7/1 to re-engage the population in understanding their health factors and what resources they have to improve their overall well-being. Should I stop for any questions on the health plan? The rest of it, the ancillary dental vision, is a bit easier.
I have a question, but it kind of is with the health plan, but not all with the health plan. So this is my 12th year, and every year it continues to go up. We understand that people have medical issues, things like that that occur. When we were talking back about the wellness program and what it brought in, that it's $500 per employee per month for the 5 years. After that 5 year was $1,000 per month. Don't know if the claims were any different because of the wellness program itself not being there. I do know that there were additional medical issues with certain personnel that had to have more care, and it caused that increase. So I do question the fact, yes, a wellness program is a great thing, but I also question the fact, was it due to not having that, or was it due to aging and other medical conditions occurring for those individuals that had the higher claim? So with you being our representative, what is your recommendation on this? And if you are recommending the wellness program, what is the projection of what it would save us?
Yeah, so you're right. It's a combination. You're going to have some catastrophic claims that are unavoidable, but we have seen an increase in those that can be avoidable with identifying and managing risk factors. So if you can avoid someone moving from pre-diabetic to diabetic, and the direct correlation there. So typically we see first year, I'd say about 1.5% return on investment in a wellness program. And for us with our clients, we have seen this is the only solution to stabilize long-term healthcare costs. And we did see during that time period where the comprehensive wellness program had the most participation, we actually saw some decreases in our renewals. We saw some flat years. So we definitely had some favorable years out of that. But you're right, it's not all preventable. You're going to have those catastrophic claims. And that's why in your environment where you've got about 108 employees on the plan, it's important to have those stop loss levels that limit the liability to the plan there. But when you have several $50,000 claims that aren't hitting that limit, then your aggregate amount just continues to increase. Your average cost per employee increases. And that's where we are today. And outside of, lessening benefits, this is really the way we see to manage trend, because healthcare trends are still, at least 8% in a normal environment. And city and county governments have that aging population that typically drives that more. But we've had city and county governments drive that trend more towards 3% when they're helping their employees manage their risk factors.
So the 15%, in fact, that we said 1.5. So the 15,000 secured from Anthem, is that added to the premium that we pay?
No, it comes out of that premium. So they're really giving you a fund or kind of refund, but it's directly for wellness.
So if we're paying in here,
Mhm.
but they're paying out here, is that 15,000 that they're giving back increasing this amount to show a payout or a deficit on our part? Because if we're only paying in this amount and they're already claiming that they're sending us back this amount, and we're 32% in the hole, that 15,000 add to that to increase that amount in which they say is a negative now?
No, it does not count towards your loss ratio. So loss ratio is only premium versus claims. It's no additional funding. It's no overhead for their administration. So that's why when you look at that slide, it says their target loss ratio is 75%, because that's accounting for the additional funding they're giving, the administration, the disease management program. So they want to hit 75 so that they're profitable. And the fund was negotiated after we negotiated the decrease to the renewal. So that was put in there after we got them down to the 20%. And Anthem has definitely voiced their commitment to renewing the county business outside of the ACCG umbrella. And so they are making investments where maybe it doesn't make sense because they feel like long-term, it is the best solution, especially when we have this commitment to reinvest in wellness and improve the risk of the county's employee population.
Is there continued to renew based on the fact that we would be willing to do the wellness?
That you'd be willing to what?
To do the wellness program.
Oh, it's not through Anthem. So this is a separate partnership through EHG, which was Corporate Health Partners at the time when we had it before. So you're not paying these funds back into Anthem. It's a separate partnership.
What is the percentage impact to say an employee rate at the moment? So with this proposal, say one employee getting coverage, that coverage rate goes up how much percent?
We modeled some different scenarios. I don't know that it has been decided what that would be to the employee increase. John, do you have any opinions?
Whether we
Yeah.
push it to the employee or not, but as
Right.
far as per individual, for an individual rate, be single coverage. I was paying $500 now, I gotta pay 600, 657, what's the new percentage?
So the total percentage premium increase is 20%. And like you said, it's up to the county, how much the county absorbs versus pushes back to the employees. So I think we had modeled a couple options of 10% and maybe 15%.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that 20 was actually.
That's total premium. Currently, I believe the county pays around 80% of the employee cost. Okay, so on to better news. We'll talk about the other benefits. With the life and disability, we did complete a full market analysis there. Those benefits are currently with Anthem, which we received a discount on the medical in the past. But if we move those benefits away from Anthem, it will not increase our premium. So it doesn't hurt us or benefit us to keep those benefits with Anthem for the July 1 renewal. With the marketing, Symetra came in as a very competitive option. We were asked to look at increasing the life insurance benefit that the county pays for from $35,000 to $50,000 for all employees. And with Symetra, because their premium was so competitive, we can actually do that, increase the benefit for all employees and slightly reduce the total annual premium by $151. So a win for the employees and the county there. We would also look to partner the voluntary term life insurance with Symetra, which is the benefit employees can elect to pay for above and beyond that $50,000 benefit that the county provides. With that, Symetra is matching current rates, but they are offering a couple of enhancements. Right now, the spouse guaranteed issue amount, which is the amount that you can elect for your spouse without answering health questions, is $30,000. Symetra would increase that to $50,000. And currently, employees that are enrolled in coverage can increase their coverage by $10,000 each year without answering health questions. Symetra will allow them to increase that by $20,000 every year. So that's a great value for someone who elects in when they're hired. They may be diagnosed with a chronic condition in the future and would not be approved for outside coverage. They can continue to increase that year over year without answering health questions and being declined for underwriting. And then with the long-term and short-term disability, Symetra was also very competitive, offering the same plan designs, but average premium decrease is 15%. The long-term and the short-term disability are currently 100% employee paid. We did model an option for the county to pay for the long-term disability benefit. And if the county chose to do that, it would be $14,834 in total annual premium. So you'll see there that there above the chart. The chart below is where we modeled the sample premiums of what an employee pays now and what they would pay with Symetra for long-term disability coverage. So for example,
Probably in the packet.
oh, we added that today. Sorry, it's not in your packet. So someone who's 40 years old making $55,000 right now, they're paying, or with Symetra, they would pay $1,856 per month for long-term disability coverage. So long-term disability starts after you're disabled for 90 days, and it'll pay until you reach Social Security normal retirement age. It's a really affordable benefit that we recommend everyone have. And if the county chose to pay for that for all employees, again, it's $14,834 for the year. Right now, employees pay the entire amount for that. For the dental and vision coverage, we did complete a full market analysis, network analysis, and discount review for those benefits. They are in a rate guarantee with Anthem, and Anthem remained the most competitive option. And there's also value from the employee side and administratively of having one ID card. So we would recommend, if you continue with Anthem on the medical, to continue with Anthem on the dental and vision. And then some new benefits that are being proposed based on our conversations and requests from employees. One is a MetLife legal plan. Again, this would be the employee's option. They would choose this if they want, and they pay for it. But it's going to provide legal services. So that's going to include counseling, representation in court for things like divorce, child support, bankruptcy, adoption, minor traffic violations. There's also solutions for debt management and identity theft that's included in that program. And then the MASA medical transport covers any out-of-pocket expense for ground ambulance, air ambulance, post-admission transportation via ambulance. It'll also cover things like repatriation, returning you or your pet or your dependent to home if someone is injured or sick while traveling. So again, that's 100% paid for by the employees, but I know a lot of people see value in that. If you've ever had a ground ambulance transportation, most of them are out of network. Right now, the value is about 79% of ambulances are outside of any medical provider network. And what that means is they can balance bill you for whatever amount they think that ride was worth. So for example, I had one last year with my daughter and it cost me $1,300 because it was out of network. Where with this plan, I could pay on average about $10 a month and it would have covered that entire expense. Air ambulance costs on average about $40,000 for an air evacuation or air ambulance, and it would cover the expense there. So again, voluntary enhancements to offer the employees if they chose that benefit. So for recommendations with the July 1 renewal, and this is barring anything different coming out of the ACCG solution, the recommendation is to renew medical, dental, and vision with Anthem. And then add the new buy-up medical plan option for employees to choose that enhanced coverage if they would like. Implement the comprehensive wellness program with EHG to introduce those biometric screenings and on-site health coaching solutions. Move the life and disability coverage to Symetra with the county paid life insurance benefit increasing to $50,000 from the current $35,000. And then adding the new MetLife legal and MASA ambulance coverage options for employees to choose. We plan on having open enrollment June 10th through June 16th. So this would be before you to vote in your next meeting. If we do receive a proposal from ACCG, we'll immediately update you with that so you know where their proposal stands before we move forward to vote on final recommendations. Any questions for me?
Thanks for bringing it sooner this year.
I try. It helps not being a part of ACCG because they always held it until April 15th. And this year we were able to get it April 1st out of it.
You bring it, say, okay, I need a vote.
I know. I definitely don't want to do it that way because I know this is a big decision, for the county and for your employees and their dependents, to provide the adequate coverage, but also affordable coverage.
Well, I think, John, we need some data from you.
Yes, sir. I have comparison tables. Tammy has sent me contributions so I can model how much the county can absorb, how much we pass on to the employees, and I'll run those figures and
There's a lot of
pass them
things
to
we're
you.
working on with the pay scale and with this, and we're gonna be careful of how much we transfer versus what we did, how much can the county absorb on each one of those.
Correct.
Now that we've got this hill to climb, we need to put all of that together. It could change
Everything.
Yes.
significantly. I mean.
I'm working on,
you know,
I'm working on gathering data to get something to give out to the board so you can see what the cost will be. We can pass on to the employee and what the county can absorb.
Very good data, so thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
How long do we have to?
It's the next meeting, you'll have to vote.
We can do it in the end of May though, because they're not going
Yeah.
to open enrollment till mid-June.
Well, but we need 30 days to get ready for open enrollment. So that's why we plan to have that decision by the 7th.
May.
Mhm.
We got 2 weeks.
I can work on something in the next few days and get you some numbers together. I mean, I got the calculation tables. Tammy sent me some, Bill has some saved. So it's just a matter of plugging check numbers and running numbers financially and see where we're at.
I think we may need to do another session like we did over the last week. Where, you know,
We may,
the impact of each one of those versus this, and, you know.
it'd probably be best to do that so everybody's kind of on board and kind of knows what's going on.
Go back to the next meeting, or have to.
It would probably
There's a lot of work.
Tuesday, probably next week. I can schedule meetings with everybody and get numbers together and run different scenarios and see what the best option is.
We have to buy your ice cream or something. In my opinion, it needs to be done to make sure we get this right.
Yes, anything we can do to, like I said, keep our employees and get better insurance and, see what we can absorb as a county and not pass on to the employee. Along with the pay scale, it's all going to benefit. the
Ice
employee.
cream might get you a box of energy drinks or something.
I got a few cans in the fridge.
Anything else? Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, being. All right, we'll go right on into the finance report, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in front of you have the bank balances at 4 o'clock today. The general funds at 4.1 million. That does include the LRA funds of $1,013,379.36. 1 million of that will be transferred to the investment pool until we decide award that bid, and that's given out so we can gain that 5% interest. All the other bank balances are holding pretty steady. Everything looks good. The tipping fees, we're waiting on the check to come in the mail with everything that's held up in Palmetto. It's just a mess. We're just waiting for the mail to come in. But these numbers did come from the waste management, and these are the checks that we will be receiving. We're just waiting on the checks. And your second page on your SPOS and T-SPOS, your SPOS balance is negative $417,000. We'll get our allocation at the end of the month, so I'll probably cut it in half. Your T-SPOS balance as of today with the motor grader, you're still at $1.2 million that you can spend. And that's cash in the bank, ready to,
That's not dependent on future contribution, that's cash.
that's cash on hand right now.
I know the rest of the board would agree with John, since you come on, he's been doing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Except Beulah is spelled with an H, not an N.
I found that somewhere in the minutes, so I just copied it because I was, that's my fault for not Google mapping and the right address. I'll get that credit for the next. Next meeting.
John? All right, long as, any department heads need to speak tonight?
No, sir, no department heads here tonight, but I did want to let you guys know that Public Safety received a $25,000 grant for turnout gear. We received roughly 25,000 and our contribution was about 4,000. So congratulations to Chief Stevens and Public Safety for his turnout gear.
have someone under citizen comments?
We do, Mr. Bruce Brown.
I do that. I want to make sure I had the name.
Mr. Brown?
Brian, if you give me 1 second, I have to read this each time somebody speaks. Speakers must contact the clerk, county clerk at a.stevens@membercounty, Georgia, ga.gov, or on before the dates and times listed below in order to be placed on the agenda to speak. Speakers must provide their name, address, and topic they wish to discuss. For the second Wednesday of the month, 9:00 a.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day before the scheduled meeting. For the fourth Tuesday of the month, 6:00 p.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting. Speakers must direct remarks to the board and not to individual commissioners or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual commissioners or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during the citizens' comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speaker will be permitted to speak for more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Look, my hat's off to all of you. I thank you for what you do. I do. I ain't come here to throw rocks or anything tonight. Mine's a small problem for me, but a countywide problem. I think you said I need to state my address. I'm Bruce Brown. I've been living here for 67 years. I live at 2686 Nebula Road in Manchester. That's on the south end of Nebula Road. I've been pastor of Grace Family Church for 27 years. And like I say, I have 3 minutes, so I've tried to cut this down as short and statements as I can. I came today to talk about, I'm going to just read it right off. I came today to talk about our road problems, not just mine, but other problem, but especially mine on Nebula Road. Also been reminded that there are other dirt roads that are in worse shape than mine. I understand that. And we all know that shouldn't be the case. I don't have a lot of other amenities, but I've never complained to the county about that, because I knew that before I bought the property out there. I knew those amenities were not available, so I've not come back to the county. We purchased our home in January 2012 because a tornado hit our home in April of 2011. Ms. Penny Meadows told us about the house on Nebula Road. At first, I said I would not buy a house on a dirt road, but she informed me that the house was well maintained. So I personally inspected Nebula Road for 8 months before I purchased a home. I would go out there, especially during hard rains. And every time I would go out there, I'm not exaggerating, this road up to my house, 1/2 mile, was absolutely perfect. No potholes, no red mud, not anything. It drained well. So we've been there since January of 2012. The county serviced the road at that time twice a year in the spring and the fall for about 5 years. But then the regular maintenance stopped, and we learned later that a Mr. O'Neill, I don't know him, was over the roads at that time, was no longer with the county. We had to start calling the road service, to try to get them to come out there and service it. I sit and I watched literally the topsoil and the gravel that our county had paid tax money to put out there wash down the drain into the creek. The road just washed off, so they never come out there and scrape the road and pull the ditches. And it was pretty quick for them to do that when they were servicing it twice a year. I believe his name was Tyrell, came a couple of years ago and worked the road. He had to add more gravel once again. That was the second time in about the last 5 or 6 years. It was once again great, but there were no servicing again for almost a year. I think it was 1.5 years. Nobody came out to service the road at all, pull the ditches. By now, first 5 years, they never had to bring topsoil or gravel, just a quick service, and they were gone again to the next road. But in the last 5 or 6 years, what's that?
Say, the board doesn't have a problem. We don't mind.
Was that 3 minutes that quick?
You need to make a vote.
I apologize.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
I apologize.
No, you
Thank,
don't need to apologize.
Okay.
It's 3 minutes, but I like to hear what you're saying.
well, in the last 5 or 6 years, they've had to bring gravel out there twice and put it on the road. Previously, before that, they never had to bring it because they service it twice a year. For the last 5 years, they've been minimal servicing, poor road conditions, added taxpayer expense of gravel, added employee time, which is money, wear and tear on our equipment. And now imagine, well, they just did. I noticed today they put some gravel, but it was beyond my house. The last couple of years have been the worst. There's been no servicing of the road. I hate to call them out there because I'm sure I'm becoming a nuisance to them. But I have a problem. Anyway, twice I've had FedEx refuse to bring packages out there to me. UPS comes, the postal system comes, but twice. One time I had to go all the way to Columbus to the FedEx place out on Macon Road. And the guy will know, what kind of road do you live on? You know, but anyway, like I said, UPS and FedEx, I mean, the other one comes, the regular mail, but FedEx refused to come twice because of the road. A few weeks back, they would not deliver because it was raining. They said it's raining and there was road, water piled up in the road. And I guess those guys, if the truck tears up, then it's their expense. It could be their job. After our heavy rain, I called up to the office on February the 13th. I talked to Sue and I'm sure she passed it on. It was March the 12th. I hadn't heard anything from anybody. I texted Mr. Cawthorn. Mr. Cawthorn did call me back the next day and said he would look at the road. I hadn't heard anything back from him. So March the 25th, I called the commission to get on this meeting. The new administrator, I guess Mr. McCarthy, wanted to speak with me and said they would look into it. I never heard anything. That was March 25th. So April the 19th, last Friday, I called again to be placed on the commissioner meeting. And so Monday today, the new administrator called me again and said they were going to be repairing a washed out pipe up the road from me and would service the road at that time. I through again?
Now,
No time frame was given. Today on the 23rd, someone was cleaning out the ditches with some type of a backhoe equipment.
that's far we can go, but we appreciate
Okay.
you bringing it, really do.
Okay, anything else? That's it. Just sit down and that's it.
Yeah, we all making notes and trust me, we're listening to what you said, but at this
Okay.
point, we don't get in the full discussion. And-
Okay, I understand. Okay, thank you. What's this?
My phone number.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's the other thing I was gonna suggest.
Okay.
I didn't know who your commissioner was, whether it was, Adam, is it? Okay, either one of them down there, but usually you'll call the commissioner directly.
Right.
And let us get on what works.
Yes, sir.
Might be news with.
Okay, I apologize. I'm not throwing rocks at them. I know they probably do the best they can, what they have, but thank you for the.
The Adams number.
And I apologize. I thought the meeting was at 6 o'clock, so if I'm on time, I'm late.
You're fine. You was perfectly fine. Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move right on into, the minutes. Everybody's had a chance to look over the minutes, April 10th, 2024, regular meeting, 9:00 a.m. Is there any changes or somebody want to make a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Got a motion? Got a second? All in favor? Accept the minutes. There's nothing under public hearing. Under appointments, planning commission to fill an unexpired term that will end on 1/5/2025, District 4.
Yeah. I want to make a recommendation to appoint Beth Neely Hadley to that.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Here we go. That'd be great. Thank you. Unfinished business, number 1, progress update on the pay scale, Mr. John.
Commissioners, after meeting with each one of y'all last week, kind of took everything that everybody had, put something together, and we discussed an executive session to go over because it's abroad for all employees. That's what I got.
Pretty much it for now. All right, well, we appreciate that update. Under new business, number 1, set public hearing to adopt codes to manage the sale of distilled beverage packages sales in Meriwether County. Jerry?
Yes, sir. On March 12th, 2024, the voters in Meriwether County approved a referendum to allow distilled beverage package sales in unincorporated Meriwether County. Really, we have to have a public hearing, and this is just to set that public hearing to get information, from our citizens, of course. That is recommended to be held on Tuesday, May 28th at 6 p.m. May 28th, at 6 p.m.
And that provides a amount of time that we need.
Any motion, I mean, motion set the public hearing about code managed sale of prescriptive beverages. Tuesday, May 28th, 6 p.m.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor? Number two, award the 2024 Meriwether County resurfacing project. Tell me.
Yes, sir. Just a little background. The bids for the Meriwether County 2024 resurfacing project element were open on April 1st, 2024. We received 6 proposals for the project ranging from $1,326,106.41 to $1,495,379.47. That's a spread of a little over 169,000. Mr. Claire noted this is the most bids we've received in at least the last 8 years, and all were very close. Staff recommends the bid be awarded to E.R. Snell as the lowest bid in the amount of that $1,326,106.41.
Set staff recommendation, we're gonna do the E.R. Snell.
Got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Got a motion, second, all in favor?
Yeah, we usually only get maybe 3 and they'll be $1 million off.
Update and resolution on retainage for the airport project.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, we received an invoice from McCoy asking for the 10% retainage they held from the airport when they did the airport grading that, and we did get a scope on all the work that was done. The actual work that was done was level the ground between the existing T hangars and the blue hangar. There are 3 box hangars on one route that require grading and new asphalt paving to tie into the existing runway, including adding drainage pipe. The same work had to be done for 10 T hangars buildings as well, and required paving on both sides of the building. There was also an embankment that had to be leveled and cleared access for the aircraft wings. This was a sizable amount of dirt to be moved. They also piped the drainage to certain areas to allow flow for the drainage ditch along the highway. In your packet, you'll see the bid. The bid actually matches the invoice of $620,640. They withheld 10% of $62,064. Personally, I've never seen it held this way, but the company held the 10% on their end, I guess, until the scope of work was satisfied by the airport. But this does match the bid to the dollar, and we do owe this $62,000. The airport had their meeting and they agreed they could pay $12,064 if the Board of Commissioners would pay $50,000. Staff recommendation is to give Airport Authority $50,000 on condition of a loan. I spoke with the auditors and that's perfectly fine. The airport does have excess funds. They just raised their rent by $50 so they can pay back a small portion to the Board of Commissioners to pay back this loan over a period of time. If the board approves it, I will come back at the next meeting with a payment schedule for the board to adopt and then for the airport to adopt to pay back the $50,000.
For future, we need to make sure that any contract that we do with any company does not hold that 10% back in that amount,
Correct.
because I've never seen that in the 12 years of doing this either. And, you know, this issue that we had with the 1 point something million that we took out the loan and then had to come back with the 300 and something thousand that we took out of the ARPA funds. And now it's coming back with another $62,000 that we still owe. We just have to make sure that whatever that 10% holdback is included from now on in that particular amount.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with all the contracts I've ever done, usually we should have been holding 10% of the total contract.
Great.
When it's all done, we release it.
Right.
Not them hold it out themselves, then come back and tell them.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it in my 10 years
I never.
plus of counting experience that it was held by the company. Usually, like I said, it's additional 10% and then you get it back.
This is not a new project started in.
No, sir.
2024. This is from the original.
If you look at
project.
the, right about the fourth page in your packet.
Yeah.
The fourth through to about six.
They have a 2024 date. Estimate provided on February 29, 2024.
They sent us a invoice asking for the retainage.
Says estimate date.
Estimate date. Yeah, this is the actual invoice that they sent over, or Kim Sinclair sent over for us for payment.
So do we have the actual estimate that?
Yes, sir. The next page behind it is your bid schedule, and it matches the $620,000 to the penny. It's just they held 10% back.
Looking for the one that says done prior to 2024.
They-
Seeing the estimate dates that they're saying, here's the estimate on February 29, 2024.
Where are you seeing this? Oh, up here at the top.
Yes,
It's the date.
it's the day they sent the bill to be paid, because we paid it in July 19th of 2023.
Finish that project because it's usually what, 3 to 6 months after the completion of a project that 10% is released.
The invoice that we paid was dated June 30th of 2023. We paid it July 19th of 2023.
So a year.
So about close to a year, they held, McCoy held it for some reason,
8
and they
months.
sent it us for payment. I guess they were doing an audit on their books and found we still owed money. So they're asking for payment.
And when it's stating here that, the airport authority can pay $12,064, is the airport authority starting to make money? Because the last meeting we've had for the last 4, 5, 6 months, we had to give them money and they're barely breaking even. So are we?
They have a little excess in funds, and they'll carry excess because of personal property taxes coming in. The first year they done it, they had 10 aircrafts on the January 1st property tax. This year, they should have the bulk of the other 13, whatever planes are housed there will be on the tax digest. So they'll be able to collect their personal property tax.
Mr. Hill. Legally, if I write you a check, I'm bound by the handwritten amount I put on the check, not the actual number in the box.
That
If I
is
make a mistake between the two.
correct. That's my understanding of it.
Yes.
Because I've seen that with banks before where they'll say that they want to follow the handwritten. But a lot of banks will also just not honor a check that has two distinct number, a number that's different from the
So on this
handwritten.
bid, this total bid amount, this kid is written out as $600,640, $20,000 cheaper than the American bid.
Can you point me to where on the bid schedule you're looking at?
BS that three, that's paid my bid skip right there. And the original. Yeah, go up. About that.
$600,640.
I see what you're saying, yeah. I mean, do you want to get in a fight with the contractor over the 20 grand? That's the question. I mean, you would have a.
Yeah. But maybe not with the contract. How many times has it been long when you come back?
Right. But I mean, this was written out by McCoy. It appears at least, maybe I'm reading it wrong. It looks like it's written out by the contractor. And I mean, it's,
I ain't saying they did.
yeah, I'm not saying there's,
Number, it's true.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm just saying it can happen. You got to stick with one or the other.
I don't know what would happen in a court of law with this. Likely what would happen is that you'd have to look outside of the contract and bring in additional information to prove the contents of the contract. When you have a vague term or an unclear term, that's what you have to do. And so if the negotiating documents, et cetera, then revealed that it was 620 or there's another bid sheet or something else that has that, then that would be evidence that would go for what that price is. Now, if it said it was 600 even instead of the 620, then the vice versa would be the case.
So John, if we pay out the 558, 570, is that what we?
Yes, sir. 347,000 from the FMM loan and 211,396 from ARPA funds.
$576.
$620,640 was the bid.
And have we read the contract to see if there was a statement in there that they were holding the 10% above that? Because if not, if the original contract amount was $620,640, and there's nothing in there saying that they are holding a 10%, then we really don't owe them that 62,000.
Yeah, all the research I did, all I found was this bid document that was in everything.
658.
620,640.
When they gave us the final invoice. So there are a number on the final invoice and that invoice showed with a 10% retained still to come.
I think it's in the. Yes, sir, on the, close to the last page, you'll see the breakdown of the FMM loan and from ARPA, you'll see the retainage amount of $62,064. That was subtracted out. It's that bid package part that was in there that's dated 10/4/2022 by McCoy.
So what I'm getting right here, though, it says, like you said on the sheet, it says total $620,640. Then you come on down, it shows retainage, 62,000, then it says current amount due. So I guess that current amount due is minus that retained.
Correct. And we paid it in full, and I've never seen a company invoice you directly with one invoice,
So we
not
paid
asking
that
for the full amount.
580, I can't read, it's so small.
58,576.
Is what we paid
So
you
we
today.
paid that, it showed retainage right there.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen that happen with just one paper. Usually it comes in installments.
Yeah, he's saying.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
that was the first thing I did was pull
Mm-hmm.
the actual payment and see if it was on that invoice when we paid it.
It just seems like we need to get a tighter grip on what's happening at the airport. And the agreements they're entering into and the liability that's putting on the county and therefore the citizens, taxpayers. Because we hadn't paid $211,000 to go with that, and now we're going to come back and pay another 62, and we're already on the book for finishing out the monthly payments every month, and they agreed to being a shortfall in their revenue.
Yes, sir.
So the county and the taxpayers are having to pay again.
Over the last few meetings, myself and Tammy has advised them with Nathan to try to kind of get them in line, get their budget going, try to see what a shortfall, try to help them get more revenue. I think with the new members that came on board, they're starting to grasp that it's actually need to be ran as a business now, instead of a flying club.
So basically, when they got that bid and accepted the bid, the airport authority accepted. It wasn't the staff looked at it, accepted, or the boards, the commission, it was the airport authority.
From my understanding, it was the airport authority because part of it was paid off loan. Yeah.
That's part of the problem is when we nominate people to those authorities and they have purchasing power. It doesn't have to come before us.
Actually,
And
it did.
therefore gets us in.
It did come before us. Before we actually had presentations. Before the three meetings, it did come before this board, and we did vote to support the project and support it in the event that there's any problem.
And the reason for that was the amount shown and the amount being brought in, it was sufficient enough to make it with additional leftover each month too. And then we found out shortly after y'all came on, that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Funds got held up.
That's what we're not gonna let that happen again in the future.
But I do have one more question.
Responsibility to do.
Right.
Yes,
I do
correct.
have one more question. If we only do the 50,000 as a loan, are we 100% sure that they have the 12 something to put into it?
Yes, sir. I verified that and they do have the 12,000. They have that mainly because people have already paid a year in advance. They try to bypass when they increase their rent by $50, but the new contract will stipulate they have to pay $50 more. So they do have excess revenue because about at least 3 or 4 tenants have paid a year in advance. Yes, sir. No, I spoke with the auditors and he wanted to make sure clear that, they want to come back and pay general fund dollars with general fund money. And I assured them the airport even if it's $500 a month, that they'll be able to pay off. If they pay more, the airport will pay more, but we'll set up at least a minimum threshold we know they can afford. But if they can pay more, we'll make sure they pay more every month.
But my only concern,
We're subsidizing their monthly payment on their loan.
That's,
That's
yes,
why I was asking.
yes. The county is covered.
That they can contribute, but
But-
we're subsidizing their payments, they're not making the payments.
Tammy was gonna make one loan payment. They had enough to cover the $9,000 for one payment, but then McCoy came up and there was a 12,000. It was one or the other. So they decided to allocate that towards the McCoy instead of to the loan.
So would we be better off to give the full 62,000 as a loan instead of draining their account just in case they need fuel and they can pay more toward the initial loan in the first place?
That'd probably be the best solution if the board chooses to do that.
Drain their entire account
Because then they'll come back.
and be
anyway.
back next month asking for additional.
But how can you make payments on the loan if we're subsidizing, like I said, if we're subsidizing monthly payments to the bank, something that.
And I've proposed what their actual rental rate should be to pay for those loans. The authority decided to raise it $50. It really needs to be around $350, $400 for them to break even.
And they don't want to up it. There's people that'll pay this stuff.
They want to do $50 at the last meeting, and I've advised them.
Tell them they don't want to up it. It's gonna be hard for them to come back and ask this board for something else down the road if they don't want to try to.
Already would be hard.
Yeah,
I mean, they could have at another meeting, they could be advised, prior or at the meeting.
They will on the next meeting.
Yeah, they need to strongly consider that because we're subsidizing them.
Right, but John, how many planes out there owned by residents of Maryland County?
One, Mike Watson.
And the rest are owned by other outside counties.
Correct.
And they're there because they ain't got a place to go.
And we're talking about adding additional hangars of another company.
Ground leasing.
from a legal,
Adding the business members.
Ground leasing.
Oh, ground lease. Okay, you said hangar.
No, It's ground leasing, but it's gonna be a small income amount, probably $250, $300 a month. It's not gonna be extravagant, $30,000 a month income. It's gonna be small.
from a legal standpoint, do y'all have, I mean, do you have some kind of memorandum of understanding on what these terms are gonna look like? Or are you just asking the board to authorize you to reach terms of some amount? So for instance, Commissioner Threadgill was suggesting the board could consider a loan of 62.5 or 62,064, I'm sorry. And then you would come back with, work with us and come back with an actual loan agreement.
Correct.
Okay. So you're just asking for the authority to enter into some kind of a loan agreement
Correct.
with. Okay, because I worry about not having details
Yes.
at this point in time and just giving 50,000 with an idea that they will enter into a loan.
I wasn't through asking questions yet.
Yeah. So Michael's point, now how fast do we have to make this decision? Can we do this at the next meeting?
We can, I can reach out to Ms. Sinclair and let her know it's brought to the board's attention and we just need a couple more weeks and we should be able to get an answer to her, and I can reach out to the airport authority and tell them like, look, the board is, offered to give a $62,000 loan. We just need to draft up an agreement.
Yeah, because a loan agreement like that's not very difficult to put together, but
I don't think we can legally. We can highly recommend, but I don't think we can say you are going to do this with an authority. But I was gonna ask though, we need something more time constraint, like how long is the loan going to be so that we can vote on that instead of.
I can work all that out. So at the next meeting, you'll kind of have an idea. No.
They got right now.
Yeah, I'll go back through and run their numbers and, have something for the next meeting to give you amortization schedule that $62,000 loan.
I just think it'd
Should
probably
pay.
be better to give the full amount if we're gonna agree on doing it than to drain their account right now. I mean, we're gonna be held liable for whatever it is anyway, ultimately.
The way to operate.
Yeah. So if they need fuel or anything, that's gonna come back to us too if they don't have at least 10,000 for fuel in there at one point.
Yeah, they just bought a tanker of fuel, so they're good on that, but I understand you don't want to drain their fund completely. And like I said, we did budget for them to pay back one or two loans in this year,
Mhm.
that it was,
I don't know, we had those. I remember conversations about requiring them to pay that back, but I'd have to look at the meeting notes as in 9 months ago. I don't remember.
You're talking about the 1 something with F and E?
No,
Subsidized payment too.
From ARPA, I thought we just gave that to them.
We did, but
Okay.
then we're
The bigger-
paying the difference in their loan amount that they have short.
Right.
And then we had discussed and agreed with them, and I don't know where it ended, that they would have to pay us back whatever we did cover on that loan. I don't know where that fell out.
Yeah, the initial loan was that the county, because of the amount, we had to sign it for them. They could not do it on their own because it exceeded the 1.2 or 1.3 million. But it was that the airport authority was to pay that back in full. And now with us having to subsidize that, then they do owe us that money back, once they're back on track.
Can you pull those records for the next year?
Because that was the initial loan agreement that they are paying that, so we have to get our money back too. Because it wasn't that, we were only signing it to back it because of the amount. An authority could not go to that amount, so the
Correct.
county had to back that with signatures. So when we did that, it was projected to us that they were going to be able to make all those payments with no issue, so no obligation came back on the county. Ultimately, it does come back, but initially it did not. And now that we are paying those amounts and they still owe that back to us because they're not making, right, because they're not making the
Yes.
full payment to the loan person.
Second, that also.
yeah,
When they originally came back, they were gonna try to get us to co-sign or whatever to up the loan, to cover that 300 and some thousand. And then I think Brian Shaw made a motion to just take it out of the other fund, and we gave it to them without having to pay it back. But now we're having subsidized payments, whatever that.
yes, it's in our
that
budget.
amount we're paying subsidized should be calculated to where when they start showing a profit, they're paying the subsidized back to us. And the 62,000, whatever you're fixing to put together.
Is I just need the original documents to look at so I can go through it with the auditors. I know we do FY 23, there was 4 payments made from the county to the airport, will be a due to, due from. When you run into a long-term debt from an audit standpoint, after a year, it becomes allowable for doubtful accounts and you'll be writing it off. So you can do it due to, due from. It could be $100,000 at the end of the year. If they don't pay it within that year, the auditors are gonna start writing down as you're not gonna be able to collect it. So it's kind of a catch-22 for the Board of Commissioners.
I'll make a motion to give the 62,500 in the amount of the loan contingent upon the finance director bringing back at the next meeting a breakdown of the loan with a term to this board.
Second.
That we have to approve those terms also.
Yes, we do. He'll have to bring it back the next meeting.
You got a motion and a second off.
Hey,
One more comment, though. I haven't been myself. I think with all of this that's going on, we as commissioners and staff needs to make every effort to attend as much as possible some of these airport authority meetings. Get that whole list made on.
Mhm.
yes, sir, Commissioner. I've strongly advised again and again, but it's on the airport authority to make that decision. But I give them the advice every month or every 2 months. You really need to raise your rental rate to break even.
Mhm.
They have authority
They
to
can
do,
spend a certain amount of money, but don't spend another $2 million.
they could have gotten a loan.
They can go get it on their own.
Yeah, there is, and it also looks at a credit type thing too. If you go out and apply for a loan, it will be looked at that there is already an existing loan, but they can do up to 1.2 million, I believe, without us. But anything above that point, it becomes our responsibility to sign off on it because they have to have somebody backing it.
Yeah, pretty much they can't take out anything else.
How they pay for it.
Yeah, they can't. It's
I checked around
1.3.
some other airports like that, I'm Macon, Berry, and different areas in Colorado. I got buddies that plans all down there. They're paying higher, right?
That's the consensus that we got from,
Race rate here. Some of these folks want to be here. They can shoot up, they leave here and fly to P3 City, fill up the plane, fly right down.
and I've seen that
It's cheaper than P3C.
Yeah, when I look at a fuel, I see someone getting $74 and that means they're flying somewhere else and coming back and storing their plane here. They're not buying fuel from us.
So
So
my
it's-
buddy does the same thing. He's got a hangar and base. He'll jump in and fly down there as quick like he is. It's like 3 minutes. Fuels up and comes right back. And gets fly plane. So that's why I said we need to see what the fuel competitiveness is too.
Yes, sir. And they've been watching on that one. Commissioner Threadgill attended one of the meetings, suggested they raised the rate on the fuel. But I believe their next meeting is going to be in June because they have it every 2 months. And we'll make sure we send all that out to all the commissioners.
Sounds good. Number 4, rental rates, Lake Meriwether.
All right, it's last advisory, advisory board meeting. They recommended to raise the rates of pavilions from $35 to $50 per day. And tent camping rates from $10 to $15 per day.
What about the camper before that?
Already started that. That's staying the same?
That's cheap. Only more so thing, I'll go 2 down, it's $50 a night per month.
Online. And work.
I think we'll raise those two, should raise that one too, and that help across the board. But you got to think about it.
We have to approve this rental rate increase?
They make the recommendation at their meetings and then they bring it back to us and we have to okay it because they're not in the poll.
Advising.
You're gonna make a motion then to.
Not for this one. Give us the recommendation, Emmett.
Increase the pavilion rate from 35 to 50. Tent camping rate from 10 to 15.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Meriwether Lake Advisory Board.
All in favor? There we go. Now we're on the RV when we come back. All right, number 5, Facts on Demand Incorporated.
Yes, sir. We, added this one last minute. Ms. Valerie, you want to speak to it and correct or add on, or you want to take it?
I mean, you're welcome to. I'm here if needed, though.
Okay, I'll start. You just
Okay.
help me out a little bit. We, moved this one pretty quickly. Recently there was a audit that informed, Mr. Brown over at, Enon One that, we wouldn't be able to do the background checks over there, anymore. Ms. Sheriff's Office for everything except for out-of-state background checks. And also I believe the sex offender.
They're unable to run that.
Right. This company, where we have a contract from, which thank you to Michael for looking over, we've been running back and forth, checking with Michael here about what's the contract. It is with a private company that could perform those as needed, the sex offender background checks in the out of state. Now, the sex offender, we technically could do ourselves for free, but they provide forms and different things that help out with liability. And it's, I understand, a very reasonable cost. I think
It is.
$7 per.
Yeah, the background for the state of Georgia is $7. They can do a nationwide sex offender report for only $5. Of course, I can go to the Georgia Sex Offender Register and pull it up. That's just for the state of Georgia.
You can actually
I can do that at,
sex offender. A lot of companies that I work with in the medical field, we do that. And it is 100% off.
yeah, I can do it without I should be able to do that without any cost. The reason I contacted Facts on Demand is because I knew it was gonna take a little while to get everything worked out with the sheriff's office. When I first learned that 911 couldn't do the backgrounds anymore, I contacted Deputy Chief Hadley. That was my first phone call once I realized what was going on, and he was very,
receptive and supportive, and he wanted his department to help me. Just took a little while to be able to work out the details. In fact, today I was able to iron out all the details with Iris Nash. She's going to be helping me with it. And she was able to run 3 of them that have been on hold for well over a week. So that's good. So I'm up and going now, I believe, with the sheriff's office, and I'm very appreciative to them for their help. I still think it's a good idea to have this other company, the private company, on hand, just in case, something unexpected happens, or the personnel in the sheriff's office are on vacation, they have something going on and they're not able to get to a background. If I had a company like this in place, I could keep hiring moving faster, because that's my desire, to get people hired and approved just as quickly as possible. And it's been very hard having this standstill, because it's been almost 2 weeks that I haven't been able to get backgrounds and hire. So I would love to have the private company as a backup, with the understanding that using the sheriff's office would be my largest priority, since it would not cost anything.
And out of that. And I have a comment for that.
Yes, I'd use them for out of states.
I use background checks also with beer and alcohol license and core license, and we have people have events, and the core license, I can't wait 2-3 weeks sometimes for core license and background checks.
So we pay for that.
The subscriber shall, the either party can cancel at any time by verbal or written, notice. So at least we're not in a long-term contract, we did like them, but.
No, it would just be, I could use them as needed. Use them as needed. I've actually worked with them before at another job. I'm very familiar with them, and they have a really quick turnaround. I've always gotten the results when, 6 or 8 hours. So it's quick. I've always been able to pick up the phone and call them if I had any questions about any of the results. So I've had a good working relationship with them at previous places that I've worked.
So just like a motion here for us to allow you to go to use this.
Just so you know as well, from a legal standpoint, the Facts on Demand did make most of our revisions. I do want to point out on page 3 under paragraph 4 that continues on to page 3. There are Fair Credit Reporting Act requirements that whoever takes out a report is required to do, and they don't want to be responsible in case we don't follow the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Okay, so there is an indemnity clause that they were unwilling to take out. Obviously it's never the recommendation of legal to ever accept an indemnity clause, but I just wanted to point that out, that it's still in there with regard to our use of the data that we receive, or our failure to abide by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. All right. So just letting y'all know that is a recommendation that was not approved by the vendor. So.
Is there a retainer fee, retention fee, recurring fee for this? It says we don't pay anything until you use it.
Until I use it, yes, sir.
That 30 days.
So what is the projection of the minimal cost per month to what we would think that the maximum cost per month would? Because this is kind of, all right, let's sign up for it, but we really don't know what it's gonna cost or how much we're gonna have to use it to make.
Let's say something unexpected happens and I'm unable to get backgrounds and NVRs processed for a whole week. I do anywhere between 1 and 5 of these per week typically. So 5 times, it'd be 5 times about $30 for all of it, for all the things that they could do. So it could be that much occasionally. Yeah, $150 occasionally.
Per week,
Yes.
$6 to $800 a month.
No, per month, 1 to 5 per week.
$30 a week.
And my intent would not be to use them that often, but if something happened, if Iris, for example, was on vacation or had work duties that, her workload is really heavy, I'm sure. If she was unable to do them for some reason, it would be worth it to me to be able to pay that money to get people hired. I mean, but that's, I work in HR, so I'm naturally going to feel that way and want to get people hired.
It's 1 to 5 people per week at $30 per person.
That would be the
Maximum.
most I would estimate.
dollars.
Yes, and occasionally, we have somebody relocate to the county from another state. The sheriff's office would not be able to do an out-of-state background. So if I occasionally have somebody that relocates to the area, that's different amounts for different states. But I'd like to be able to do that as a precaution because we have an obligation to make sure we're hiring people that we feel will be safe to work with our employees.
I don't have any more questions.
I don't think I do.
I don't have an issue with it either, so.
No, I don't either. I just want to make sure that we are not just adding something.
I just like to have it as a backup just in case, so I don't get hiring stopped again. I've had almost a 2-week stop right now. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
It looks like it needs a chair to sign too, or it needs an authorized representative to sign, I believe. If I'm looking at it right.
Chair sign.
I'll second it.
Motion got a second by the Vice President. Sir, you can say, oh, so you ready to vote?
Oh,
All in favor? All right, there we go.
Thank you all.
All right, that's all under new business, so we're gonna go right into a report from the county administrator.
Yes, sir. Continue to attend the pay scale meetings. We also met with some developers that were going around with different, speaking with different counties about developments they do, and we spoke with them about essentially what we have to offer here. Attended a department head meeting where we talked a little bit more about our work culture, and that was a good meeting. Where we just kind of talked about all that we have going on. Spoke with Mr. Larry too out of Lake Meriwether about reaching out to remote workers and talking about the opportunity that they have to live here and work somewhere like Lake Meriwether where we have Wi-Fi and you have the scenery and whatnot, how that can be your office. And was impressed upon too, Mr. Larry's already have a social media presence where he's reaching out to people and just talk about making sure that we represent that as well. Look through new legislation that's been passed, ACCD made us aware about, and sent some notes and other stuff, different practices that are affected, and spoke about that a bit. We will be setting up T-Spot meetings with the city soon. I just want to reiterate that. The motor grader went ahead and signed off on a slight change. We were going to be waiting on our motor grader with the joystick was going to be here as late as May or even early June. They have one with the steering wheel that was ready to go now. Mr. Berry was fine with the steering wheel. Commissioner, we weren't contingent on the steering wheel or the joystick. So, we're going to went ahead and sign off on the change there, and so we're getting done. Yeah, same price.
Same warranty.
It's
Everything, motor.
Same
one.
Mhm.
So that'll go ahead and get here and get it operating. And other than that, I've already emailed you about some different updates, and we'll talk about some things in executive session.
Do you know how many motor graders they have operating right now?
I think we have 3, and I think, wait, one with fire is back up and running. We didn't break down the other one. I think we've got 3.
So they had a citizen call and tell me they called it, and she was told that 1 or 2's in the shop, and I didn't know. So, we got anything in the shop now?
No, the one with the fire was in the shop and it's back, and we have one that we are gonna tear down. It's not the shop, but it's here, and we're not done working with it.
No.
We're told with this revised, we got 4 operational.
Right.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Well, you got anything you want to add?
Yes, sir. Also worked with, Larry on some updates to the disc golf. He's working with Bill and Barry on the signage for Lake Meriwether out there. Also working with Public Works to get a list of, trucks to be scrapped and cleaned out from Public Works down there. We will do it with a sealed bid. We have at least 10 vehicles. We'll get the complete list to you guys to approve because you'll have to surplus them before we can then put it out and get rid of them. We also will be submitting the 319H grant on or before the 30th. You have the nearly complete draft right there in front of you. That also came with a couple more conversations with EPD. They are very excited to be working with us, and there's a lot of opportunity there. Had two conversations with Senator's Ossoff's office. They called to ask us about the rural health and wellness. Warm Springs Regional Medical Center also put one in, and they were asking if we would support their application, if we wanted to go with our push. And of course, went with Miss Karen and Warm Springs Medical Center. They also called back and we had a little bit longer conversation about the potential water project, which is adding the water lines between cities, maybe some well rehabilitation. We're talking and partnering with the Water and Sewer Authority on that. So that was a positive conversation. Keep Meriwether Beautiful has the cleanup coming up this Saturday. The 27th is going to be all day in multiple places around the county. Really looking forward to that. Public Works numbers, we have had about 200 or a little over 200 Public Works calls each month so far. 217 in January, 209 in February, and 212 in March. Don't have the April numbers yet. And then also the Lake Meriwether Fireworks Show had a really extensive meeting yesterday and still continuing to get that ready for July the 6th. And that's it.
I had an opportunity on Sunday to have. Oh,
No, I think it goes commissioners next.
Okay, I got it. All right.
So I had an opportunity to have lunch with Dr. Ben Carson on Sunday. That was an opportunity. He is just as genuine and as nice as he appears to be on TV. I also had another opportunity last night to have dinner with Miss Carrie Lake, who's running for Senate out west. She was a national news media. So it brings some things into your life whenever you're in these seats, and it's things that you will live with and be grateful for the rest of your life. But that's all I had.
I'd like to thank the staff for what they're doing. Over the last week or so, we had some very productive meetings, a lot of good data, some things that we're working on as a group in the county. A lot of hard work went into that. A lot of good positive feedback about roads. A lot of work's been done, a lot of tasks completed over the last couple of weeks. A lot of great things there. I mean, we got a lot to do, but there's great progress, great movement. A lot of good comments coming back, so I appreciate that. And a lot of hard work. Thank you.
I just like staff from all the work they're doing, hard work.
I was gonna say about Keep Meriwether Beautiful is this Saturday, so we'll be sure to pick up trash and get things taken care of. And I'd just like to commend our Meriwether County GOP for hosting a candidate forum, and I know several of us were there. But it was really very well done and very well received. A lot of attendance, and 3 of the 5 candidates for District 3 were there. And the other 2 will be at the next meeting, which will be right before the election or whatever. But I just want to thank everyone that had a part in that, that it was well done with that.
Same thing here. I've had a lot of phone calls from folks commending the public work, just like someone that spoke tonight, so it's great when they're calling you, and they're just going, hey, thanks for having me get out here, or thanks for telling me we appreciate it. And the way the staff are working together, and with all the traffic stuff going on down south in the county, my heart and prayers go out to the family of the quarterback of Manchester. I can't think of his name, so I apologize for that, but the quarterback got killed this past Saturday night. Another football player got injured, had to have surgery. I think he's going to survive okay. I really don't know what it's going to take to get handle on what's going on down there in the county. But these young guys are too young. I mean, I don't play college ball, so I'm going to play pro ball and expect them to just. I just want to take my time to say to the family, we're sorry for your loss, and hopefully we get things turned around. All right, county attorney.
I have no report. I do understand from both John and Jared that we are looking at, an executive session for personnel and real estate or litigation.
Look,
Yeah, litigation,
Personnel, you put that in there.
personnel and litigation. Yep.
Can I add, just to run something?
Sure. So all three then.
All right, then, that's all there is. The future meetings are, the notice will be May 8th, 2024, regular meeting at 9 o'clock, and then May 27th is 2024, closed for Memorial Day, and May 28th, 2024, regular meeting at 6 o'clock p.m. And if there's nothing else to discuss this time, we'll have a motion on executive session at 7:45. Have a motion?
Second.
A second, all in favor? We are now in executive session. Got a motion to go into regular session. Got a motion, got a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're now back in regular session. There's no action taken in executive session tonight. There's nothing else further to discuss or bring up. We need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Got a motion?
Second.
A second, all in favor? We adjourn.